All right, B, you are clear to start whenever you are ready.
Thank you. Thank you, Jesus. Welcome to the February 1st, 2023, and I don't believe I'm saying February 1st, but that's okay, meeting of CB6 Bylaws Committee. My name is B. Disman, and I am the chair of the committee. Tonight, we are joined by District Manager Jesus Perez. As a reminder, New York State law now requires all community board members to have their cameras on and their first and last names displayed from the time the meeting is called to order until the time the meeting is adjourned. If your camera is not on and your name not properly displayed, you cannot account towards quorum. Members of the public, you may raise any questions or comments that you have through the Q&A feature of Zoom. If there is time following the committee's discussion, we will field questions from the public. I have to thank Maura, who volunteered to take the minutes today. Thank you, Maura. Much, much appreciated. So, Jesus, we can now take attendance by roll call.
You're muted, Jesus.
Of course I am, 3 years in. Thank you, sorry about that. Committee members, I will call your name. During this roll call, you will unmute yourselves, and then when your name is called, you will say present. I will then officially announce whether there is quorum or not. All right. B. Disman.
Present.
Thank you. Adam Hartke.
Present.
Thank you. Seema Shah.
Present.
Thank you. Sandro Sherrod. Sandro Sherrod. Okay, I'm not hearing anything, so nothing yet. Mara Wong.
Present.
Thank you. Mark Thompson.
Present.
Thank you. With 5 of 6 members present, we do have a quorum.
Thank you, Jesus. The agenda for tonight's meeting was distributed ahead of time by the board office and appears on the screen before you. If there is no objection, we'll adopt the agenda as stated. Members of the committee, if you object to adopting the agenda, you may raise your hand through Zoom. And since I can't see any of you, I'm going to ask Jesus to help me to see if he sees any raised hand.
None that I see.
Okay, then the agenda is adopted. Thank you. The minutes from January 10th committee meeting was distributed by the board office ahead of today's meeting. If there is no objection, we will adopt the minutes as drafted. May I see a show of hands if there is any objection? Seeing none, they're adopted. And Sima, thank you for the minutes, much appreciated. In order to conduct an efficient meeting, let's observe a few ground rules. No one may speak unless granted the floor. Committee members, if you have a question about committee business or wish to make a motion, please raise your hand through Zoom. The chat function should not be used for committee business or questions about agenda topics. All remarks should be made on the record by raising your hand through Zoom. Chat should only be used to alert us to any technical difficulties you are having or to state in writing information like an email address that was already stated aloud on the record during the meeting. When a committee member is given the floor to speak, I will identify you or I will ask Jesus to help me if he sees the member. You can unmute yourself so that you can speak. Committee members are required by state open meetings law to have their Zoom cameras on and your first and last name displayed during tonight's entire meeting, from call to order to adjournment. If you must step away from your computer briefly, you are required to leave your cameras on. So the order of the agenda, as you have seen it, is the review of the draft amendments to the CB6 bylaws. And that will actually consider 3 aspects that we'll go over: the changes made in the bylaws, the resolution to present the bylaws, and then a time frame of what we're going to do. Then there will be a short chair's report and old and new business. So let's go to the review of the draft amendments to the bylaws. So, Jesus, I don't know if you have that available, so you can put it on the screen if people have any issues that they could see. And I have to thank Jesus tremendously. He and I spent an entire afternoon together going over the Google Doc and all the other documents that we had and putting it in a Word document and identifying in red what the changes are in black with some of the crossouts that we had, and going through everyone's comments that were on the side. And then Jesus did one final look-see to make sure that none of the items conflicted with the other items. So I have to really thank him for the tremendous amount of work, and I'll give him another thank you on the resolution when we get to that as well. Thanks, Jesus. So in going through the bylaws, I thought it would be helpful if we just identified each of the Roman numerals and see if anyone had any comments that they wanted to offer on the changes that were there, what is struck out, or if there was the feeling that something was left out. So if you're all comfortable with that, that's how I'll proceed so we can get through the actual bylaws document itself. So let's go through item Roman numeral 1, which is community board membership. I want to ask members of the committee if there were any issues with any of the items that you saw changed or deleted. Anyone raising their hand?
I don't see anyone.
Okay, thank you. Susie, you're gonna have to do that because I only see the document in front of me.
All right, no
Okay.
problem.
The second one is board officers, and you could see in red what the additions were that, and also what was removed from that. So I'll give you a minute. Okay, anyone have any additions or changes?
I do, sorry. I know you can't see
Okay,
that.
go ahead, Mark.
It was just about the parliamentarian. Can we go back to that piece? And I read it once and it made sense. I read it again, but I was doing it fast and thought I had a question. There it is.
Okay,
Did we
so
have,
which one is that?
it
tell
was
me
more
what it
about
is.
how do we, it was F. Do we have a spot in here? And I think there was, but I couldn't find it when I went
All right,
through.
so it says the parliamentarian will not be an officer of the board,
Mhm,
and their term will coincide with the term of the chair.
Okay, I'm embarrassed. It's what I was going to ask is right there. Never mind. Okay, sorry.
No, thank you. You know,
I was
that's,
focusing on the red, not the black.
yeah, we all have been working through this so many times that it's not an embarrassment. Just bring up things if you didn't see or
Okay.
they're not clear, because I think that's
You never saw
important.
me ask that question. Okay, never mind. I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else have any other questions? Okay, we're going to go to election of officers, which is Roman numeral 3. And if you just take a look, this one was tricky because we were dealing with moving the election by a month. So I just want to make sure everyone is comfortable with what you see. And of course, we added implementing a mentoring program to a number of positions there. So anyone have any questions? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to move on to terms of office. So if you can see under the terms of office, we had the term of the office will begin January 1st, okay? We did have to take into account a transition year because you have to have the continuation of officers serving November and December, okay? We identified other language there. So any other comments on term of office?
It looks like Adam Hartkey requests the floor.
Yes,
Sorry,
Adam?
actually, I had a comment for the previous section. It's a small
Okay, let's
formatting
go
issue.
back to it. Go ahead.
Yeah, so
So you're on
the A,
you're on election of officers, right?
yep, so number 4, Jesus, number 4 there, C4. Just the A and the B, down a little bit. Yeah, it seems like, I'm not sure if that's consistent with above. It seemed like it was just, not a, parentheses, but like I think just a regular A or B.
I'm sorry, I don't understand what you're saying.
Yeah, Adam, tell
So-
me again what you're saying.
So if you scroll up, actually, so if you go above election of officers, so and you get to like 7C. Yeah, so there, so it's like C dot instead of, A parenthesis.
C dot, okay.
Cause it's a number and then it's a minor thing. Honestly, I should have
Yes,
brought it
yes,
up, but-
yes. I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
Jesus, can you tell me what he's saying? Because I don't see it.
So, right here, for duties of the treasurer, the A's, the letters that follow are just a lowercase letter and a period. Adam is suggesting that when it comes to this section right here, this
Oh, I
A
see
and
that.
this B should just be an A period
Yeah,
and a
it
B
should be
period,
consistent, no parentheses.
not a parentheses. So
Okay.
I don't want to mess anything up.
Thank you, Adam, for your sharp eyes.
Uh-oh.
I'm hoping this didn't mess everything up.
I'm hoping it didn't either, but
Yeah.
Oh,
Word is very finicky.
I know.
Yeah, we just had, yeah, it's very finicky. Let me,
all right. So Jesus, you could take that and try to clean it. Unless you
Yeah,
did
I'm
now.
gonna leave myself a note to clean this up later.
Yeah, why
Or
don't you
not.
do that? Because
All right,
I see
thanks,
them
guys.
moving. Okay, you have that note?
Yes, I've written the note.
Okay, so let's go back to terms of office with the changes that we made. Any comments? Do you see any, Jesus, any hands?
No, I see no hands.
Okay, executive committee. If you remember, we added strategic planning to the executive committee, which is 5. And in addition, we indicated that they were open to the public, except when we're in their committee meetings are open only to its oh, wait. Executive committee. I think I wind up moving, okay. The executive committee will also prescribe the format of minutes of the various committees. And also the executive committee is open to the public except when it's an executive session. So anyone have any comments about the executive committee?
I see no hands.
Okay. So I'm going to move on to the next one, which is board meetings and attendance requirements. If you remember, we took out the requirement of excuses. And if you look at it, special meetings, we changed it. So we deleted as opposed to adding anything on board meetings and attendance requirements. See anyone's hand?
I see no one.
Okay, then let's go to, and as you remember, the big change there was about someone being excused from a meeting. Okay, let's go to 7, which is
Adam
board
has his hand
meetings.
up.
Adam
Okay.
Hart, do you request before?
Adam,
Another Yeah, another ticky-tack minor error. So if you scroll down, there's like a errant highlight underneath 7. So Jesus, if you scroll down. Right there, scroll up. Underneath, yeah, they believe. So like the S that's marked out. It's
I
marked
put
up
that
yellow.
there. I put that
Okay.
there on purpose so that the crossed out S would not elude us in the end.
Okay, perfect.
So yeah, so that I could better see it. That's why I put that.
I had a feeling it was intentional.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Anything else? I love eagle eyes. Thank you. Okay, anything in, so that was, you went back to anything in 7? Okay. And we deleted some stuff in 7 because we had it already in other places. In 8, any comments? We added the stuff in 8 that membership in the executive committee shall count as membership in a standing committee. Any other comments about board committees? Jesus, no hands?
Yes. Adam, is your hand out from before or is it new? All
Sorry,
right.
it's not new.
All right. No hands.
Okay. Then let's go to, oops. There's nothing like dealing with paper and getting paper cuts. Okay, dealing with 9. Okay, for removal for cause, we changed a number of the deletions and we made it more succinct. Anything else there?
And just to be clear, this highlighting right there is just an aid so that I can see it when it comes time to actually remove it.
Okay, duties of the district manager. We took.
I had one. Oh,
Go ahead.
sorry.
Go ahead.
I had just
Mark.
one grammatical thing. Sorry, being a former editor. In 9B, down towards consultation at the end, it says, and only after consultation of the chair. I don't think of is the right preposition. Sorry.
And only after consultation.
With.
Would it be
It
with?
should be with.
Yeah.
It should be with.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Because the words were consent of, it's consultation with. Thanks, Mark. Okay. Jesus, do you have that?
I have made that change.
Thank you. That was an easier change than the A parentheses, B parentheses.
Yes,
Okay.
so it is.
Yeah. Duties of the district manager. Any changes in item 10?
We should add fiddling with finicky Word documents,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
reading
Okay.
minds.
And then we didn't make any changes in 11 and 12 and 13. So let me just take one final comment by any of the committee members. If there's anything you want to go back to, otherwise this will be the document that we will wind up sending to the board members. And I will go through a time schedule of when, with a resolution that we will now go over. So my comment to the board members, are you comfortable with this as the document that will go forward? Anyone have an objection?
I see no hands from members of the committee, but it does seem like Stuart Desser, who is not a member of this committee, but is a member of the board and is in the audience tonight, requests the floor.
Stuart, what is your comment?
Stuart, the chair of the committee, has recognized you. Would you unmute and state?
Hi,
your-
I'm sorry. I couldn't see it when it scrolled by. There was a provision of no more than 3 minutes. Is that right? People can speak for no more than 3 minutes. Is that what it wrote, what I read?
Yes, you did. It's always been 3 minutes and the chair can extend it.
All right, I wouldn't extend the limit, but the language no more than 3 minutes suggests that it could be limited to fewer than 3 minutes. If that's not your intention, if the intention is to limit it to 3 minutes, then I think it should say, can speak up to 3 minutes.
Okay, I think you're correct. So we'll make that change up to 3 minutes.
Thank you.
Wasn't though the intention to have that flexibility, because in cases where, say, we have like 50 people looking to speak, the chair might say, okay, it could be a minute and a half, it could be 2.
I don't think
obviously
I don't think we've ever done that, Jesus. We have said 3 minutes, but what the chair has said, if you're going to be speaking as the prior 3 or 4 people, just state what your position is. We've never actually limited the minutes that I am aware of.
I'm not sure I would stake my life on making that claim. I can't remember. But so are we going to make a change or are we going to leave it as
Yeah,
is?
I would make a change unless the committee members have a problem. I would make the change of up to 3 minutes.
Okay, well, up to 3 minutes is what it is now.
I'm sorry, what did the steward suggest? I lost it.
He wants to make it clear that if it's 3 minutes, it's 3 minutes, and there's no possibility of amending it so that it's less than 3 minutes. That's my understanding of what he wants or what he's suggesting.
Steward, give me your language again.
I
Yeah,
have
Lucy?
written down, can
Yes, Maura.
speak up to 3 minutes.
I'm trying to find
Okay.
it.
It's under section 4, it's on page 9.
Okay,
Yeah, go back up.
okay. All right, a non-member, business session items on the agenda shall be limited to 3 minutes for each speaker, except when otherwise decided by the chair or the board. That seems to already convey what
That
Stuart.
seems to convey
seems to-
exactly that, unless Stewart was looking at something different.
If that's the quote, then that's fine.
Okay,
I thought I saw something else.
Okay, thank you, Stewart. If when you get this at home, when we distribute it and you see something else, you let us know. Thank you. Okay, so hearing what the committee said, this is the document with some of the A and B changes that Jesus will make, will be the document we'll use. So I want to go now to the resolution. Okay. So we sent you all a copy of the resolution. The resolution is a real executive summary of what's in the bylaws. I had Jesus go back and look at how were the bylaws done before, how were they presented, to the board, okay? And they were presented to the board. One was done by executive committee, one was done by resolution, one was done when it was very few changes. The actual language of the changes was included in the resolution. When there were many changes, it was a summary. And so we have many changes in this document. So again, I have to thank Jesus. I took a stab at it, he formatted it and did some of the editorial stuff. You may find my grammar needs to be changed in some of the things, or you like different words. But what I wanted to do is give the board an understanding that we've been working on this, that first of all, when we started this, which if you look at it, members of the committee were assigned in December 2nd, 2021. But we then changed membership, and I don't know if people remember Rick Eckert, died, who was on the committee. We had another member who left us, and then Mark Thompson joined us. So we did change some of the membership. I wanted people to know what the composition in the next whereas of the committee is, that we had 2 former chairs. We had experience and we had new people. And I think that made a really good combination. That we also looked at what the other 59 community boards had. And we also had a number of meetings that took place. The committee has met in the next whereas 7 times during 2022. It'll be twice during 2023. Members of the board have attended, as you heard Stuart and Ann and other people. And so we've offered and have offered suggestions. And then what I decided to do is talk a little bit about 14 and 19. I went back and looked at them on what their changes were, and this was a solid foundation for us to work. And then what I did is I took what I considered the major items that are in the bylaws changes and have bulleted, so that if people wanted a highlight of what these major changes were, they're right in front of them, so that they can refer back to the bylaws, but they have a summary. This is a summary document. And then the bylaws, the last resolution is to amend the bylaws, and it would be on our March 8th meeting, and I'll talk more about it. So I'm going to go back to the board members, okay? As you look at the resolution, any suggestions or comments that you want to add, anything you want me to take out, any thoughts as to the resolution?
Mara Wong requests the floor.
Mara, go ahead.
Hi, sorry, I just want to step back. I did find another instance, I think, where Stuart was looking.
Okay, tell us.
Do you want to do that?
Yeah,
All right, so-
why don't you hold that? Let's do hold the space, okay?
Yep. Okay.
Let's do the resolution, and we'll come back to that, okay? So let's do the resolution. Does this convey from all of you, because it's representative of everything that everyone has done, what we want to say to the board? Or are there additions or thoughts that you have?
Can you scroll up? I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I cut someone off. I apologize. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was going to say, I was going to call on each one of you, so what your thoughts are. So Seema, go ahead.
I just want to see if I feel like we didn't adequately, reference like the work we did listening to the other members of the committee. So I wonder if like I see that it was kind of referenced, but I wonder if we can say that, we asked for public feedback. We reviewed each of the instances of public feedback from the overall board, and reconciled them with the bylaws, and then made decisions on it accordingly, just to prove that that was part of our document that was part of our process.
So do you want, because we do have in the third whereas that the committee reviewed suggestions made by the executive committee and individual CB6 members. The committee also researched. So you want to expand that right after individual CB6 members? Seema, is that where you want it, or do you want us to say?
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to say something like, the bylaw, I don't want to just say we reviewed individual members, we invited the entire board to provide feedback. And then we, took that feedback and reconciled it with the status of the bylaws, and then made decisions, according to, those recommendations as well as our own. I just feel like adding more color would just be helpful all around, but happy to discuss it more.
So you would say something, I'm trying to get language, because remember, we said with Stuart, we're not going to just do a concepts, we're going to do language. So the word concept.
Yeah, I mean, I can't think of it in this moment, sorry, but
we invited the entire board to make suggestions, reviewed those submitted, and reconciled them with the bylaws. Is that what we're saying?
I think Mark had his hand up too, but yes.
Mark?
Thanks. Yeah, my question was, and I have no memory of this, but do we think there were like 24 comments given to us, or do we want to put something in there like that were, I don't, we don't have a number, but to give a magnitude?
Well, there were many comments that were
Yeah.
given. I think we actually had, and I can go back and look, and this we could add, I think we had 27 individual board members that commented when we solicited. Jesus, do you
Yeah.
remember the number?
I do not. I guess I could try and look back at the emails.
Yeah, I think Brendan, or I could be mistaken, but I believe Brendan put them all in one document. So if during the course of this conversation, I'm happy to just kind of search my emails, because I believe he did put everything, someone put everything together for us.
You know, now that you say that, they may have been put in like an Airtable or something.
They were put in an Airtable, and
So
somehow the number 27 comes out, and then we had some extra ones because people requested the ability to submit suggestions after, those when we had new board members and stuff. But we did start with something in the 20s, okay?
So should we put something like 30 plus some submissions that would sort of?
I would say 30 plus submissions, approximately 30, over 30 submissions. So I think we could do something like this language. We invited the entire board to make suggestions. We received over 30 submissions, reviewed them and reconciled them with the existing bylaws. Am I speaking too quick?
No, let me see. Whereas the bylaws committee invited all board members to make specific amendment suggestions. The committee received
Over 30.
Received over 30 submissions. And then what was the next part about?
And reconciled them with the existing, discuss them and reconcile them with the existing bylaws.
The committee received over 30 submissions and discussed
Each one.
To reconcile
Them with the existing bylaws.
them with the existing bylaws.
And I may actually have in my folder the Airtable. I will take a look at it, but I know it was high 20s, and then we've been getting suggestions all along.
All right, so what you guys are proposing is to add this new whereas. It will be the new fourth whereas. Whereas the bylaws committee invited all board members to make specific amendment suggestions. The committee received over 30 submissions and discussed each one to reconcile them with the existing bylaws.
I'm comfortable with that. Any other comments from committee members?
Thank you. That makes sense to me.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay. So I also wanted to make sure that we kind of spoke about how we operated, when we had our first meeting, how many times, and also that members of the board itself attended. Okay. Let's go down to the items that are listed. Are there things there that you want me to remove first of the list? Any of those in the summary that you feel that should be removed? I'll give you a minute just to look at the summary.
Looks good to me.
Okay.
Shall I
Anyone
move-
else have anything, thought?
Okay, I've scrolled down to the second part because it doesn't all fit in one view.
Yeah. All right, so no one wants me to delete anything. Does anyone want me to add anything that you think is important enough to add?
The only thing that comes to mind is that I know last month we had a discussion on mentorship. Did we end up, I forget how we ended up resolving that. And is
So
that
we
more-
have it in 3 places, Seema. Thanks for raising it. We have the responsibility of the board chair. And then we have the first and second vice chair will assist. So it's in now the officers.
Oh, yeah, I see
this
it
is-
now. Yeah, thank you. I missed it.
Yeah.
the first three
Yeah, I
times.
thought that was very, very important for us to have in it. Now, there is something, one of the recommendations, and I was toying with it and didn't know how. I think we'll do it in our oral presentation or your thoughts. One of the issues that we spent time looking at was the terms of the offices. Because when we started this, we had a few suggestions, I should say, that we should shorten it as opposed to 3 one-year terms. And we looked at what the other community boards had done, basically that in New York City, in Manhattan. And many had the terms that were even longer than what we had. And we had a full discussion that it usually takes a chair about a year, and having 2 chairs on the committee was very helpful. It takes about a year for someone to get comfortable with what the role is, who the people are. And therefore, the second year, they're in full speed, and it's helpful to have someone there for the 3rd year. So we kept it the way it is, up to 3 one-year terms. I think it's something we're going to have to discuss, but I couldn't figure out how to do a whereas or do it, or just do it for discussion. So I want to make sure people are comfortable with the fact that orally we could recognize that a few people raised this and our rationale. What's your thoughts about this one issue?
I can say some, I guess.
Yes,
because
Mark, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. I think that maybe we don't put it in here because we didn't change the bylaws.
Right.
But I think it's a discussion point. And it's been discussed randomly. In the past, it was, when we first did it, in fact, it was only kind of, I think you were there, remember probably, that only really one person had any disgruntlement over it, but that sort of went away. So I think maybe it's better just as a discussion point, because it wasn't actually something we changed.
Yeah, that was one of the rationale for not dealing with this, but
Mhm.
knowing that we had a couple of people that really felt
Mhm.
strongly about it.
Mhm.
I think we can talk about how when we presented,
Yeah.
that we did take that into, and that kind of goes to Seema's thing, that we
Mhm.
looked at everything, we reconciled that, but that was something we spent a lot of time on because we knew the feelings of some people.
Mhm.
Okay. All right,
Was
so
there
I'm,
other
go
stuff like-
ahead, Mark.
I'm saying, was there other stuff like that we might want to do the same thing with and say, we discussed it a lot, but we didn't put it in here because we didn't change the bylaws or.
Yeah, so I
read it.
thought with everyone, I would go through it, go back, find that air table again, and go
Oh,
find Ann's comments. And because Ann gave a very substantial list of comments that we also dealt with, and pick out. So I hope to be able to do that. I think I put everything into a folder. If not, I'm going to ask Jesus to try to help me, and I will look to see, and I'll let you guys know. I also want to be able to say that each one of you had various sections of it. And if questions are asked about sections, I certainly can call on all of you. This is not a B. Disman show, it's all of your show there. So I thank you on that. So Jesus, I'm going to do some research next couple of days and see if you could do the research with me. I know we had this stuff.
I'll look and see if we have if I can dig up the Airtable. I mean, we have it. I must have made it, so it must be here somewhere, hopefully. And I'll see if maybe we created some sort of document that sort of compiled everything into something else. I'm not sure, but now that you guys are talking about this Airtable, that started to ring a bell. So I'll see what I can find as well.
Yeah, and the other thing that would be very helpful, Jesus, is to find the summary that we did of what the community boards, you did that wonderful summary for us when we did the community board research. And I think it would be very helpful to have that in front of us as well.
Okay.
Okay, and that's what happens when you work on something for about a year. You have to go back, and I did create a file for this. I have to see what I put into the file. So anyone else have any suggestions or additions before we take a vote? Because we're going to have to take a vote on the resolution and the bylaws attached to it. Any other comments about the resolution? Okay, so does anyone want to move to a vote?
Adam Hartke requests the floor.
Yeah,
Adam?
I'll move the vote, call the question.
Okay, is it seconded?
Second.
Okay, Jesus, will you take a roll call?
Yes.
Sorry, Mark, I just saw your hand at like the last second.
I was just waving. No problem.
All right, for the motion.
Oh, wait, I'm gonna put it on hold because I see us. I said I would go back to the thing that Stuart found that we just found. Hold
Yeah.
it. Okay, I'm looking more at Maura's face and it just triggered me. That shows you how forgetful one could be. So where did you find it?
Yeah, so Jesus, if you go back in, it's the top of page 9. It's right near where that highlighted S is.
Okay, the top of page 9.
Right there.
Okay.
Each speaker shall be limited to no more than 3 minutes. I think we are saying it should say each speaker may speak up to 3 minutes.
So what was the language we just had that just said that before?
It's further down in section 4, the business section. The language that should probably be updated is regarding the public session.
So shouldn't it be the same language in both sessions, in both sections?
All right, remind me of these of the page number of the language that we did before we came back to this.
They
That
are
was
both
9 as
on
well?
page 9. Yep,
That was also on page 9.
right there in the center.
Okay, it says here, board business session items on the agenda shall be limited to 3 minutes for each speaker, except when otherwise decided by the chair or the board.
So why don't we use that exact same language in the other place? Because that takes care of your issue and gives the flexibility.
Mhm.
Okay, let's see, and then up here, this is the section on the public session. Each speaker shall be limited to no more than 3 minutes. Okay, so we propose adding each
think
speaker
it
should
should
be
say-
limited to
Public session items on the agenda shall be limited.
well, it's that business session items language that confuses me a little bit. I thought we were talking about how long people could speak. This section right here that we're working on right now is very explicitly about how long public session people can speak. So it seems like each speaker shall be limited to
3 minutes, except when otherwise decided by the chair of the board, is what we're trying to say.
Right,
2, 3 minutes, except when otherwise decided by the chair of the board. And we will take
Right.
out no more than 3.
right.
We'll take out all of this. Okay, so it will now read, each speaker shall be limited. Okay, let's read the sentence before it too. Public session 3A. There shall be a public session at each regular monthly community board meeting during which members of the community shall be afforded an opportunity to bring to the attention of the board any matter that they believe to be of general or common interest to the community and the board. Each speaker shall be limited to 3 minutes, except when otherwise decided by the chair of the board, period.
Right,
Hey,
that takes,
So Jesus, it has or right there. So that should be of, right? Chair of the board. Because we removed the voting
yeah,
part.
of the chair of, you see the or, it says or the board,
I see.
chair
I
of,
think that may be intentional. I think you guys
Well,
may put that in
we
there so the chair
removed it,
could do it
actually.
or the board could do that.
So, but if you look at the last sentence, we removed it to vote. We got rid of the mechanism.
Okay,
yeah, it's a,
okay, so of.
okay,
So then that means that that language, the chair or the board, is also down here.
Mhm,
right, but
mhm.
it's,
Uh,
It's right there at the top.
except when otherwise decided by the chair or the board.
chair
we'll-
of the board,
We'll change this to of too?
yep.
Okay,
We had a whole discussion of the board's involvement in taking a vote as opposed to the chair.
okay, then. Yeah, you must have forgotten that, but
There was a lot to work,
yeah, I need my ginkgo biloba.
yeah. Okay. More, are we now, okay,
I think so. Can you just scroll up again, Jesus?
Okay, and the sentence after that reads, the chair of the board may extend such time
as appropriate,
appropriate. Each
Right.
speaker shall be limited to 3 minutes, except when otherwise decided by the chair of the board. The chair of the board may extend such time as appropriate. Isn't that somewhat redundant? Because
No. Why is it, why we're saying you can go beyond that?
Each speaker shall be limited to 3 minutes, except when otherwise decided by the chair of the board, meaning it's 3 minutes unless the chair of the board says something other than 3 minutes. It could be less than 3 minutes, it could be more than 3 minutes. And then the next sentence says, the chair of the board may extend such time as appropriate. That seems to be already covered by the except otherwise decided by the chair of the board.
I think it shows that it's not automatic. There's an
Okay.
appropriateness that's looked at. I'm comfortable with leaving it.
Okay,
Okay. Can we go back to, we had a call for a vote and seconded. So Jesus, if you could do the roll call.
sure. Okay. Let me get back to that. All right. Motion was made to adopt the draft resolution with the attached draft amendments for the bylaws and to present that to the full board meeting for adoption as a whole document. Now we will move to a vote. B. Disman.
Yes,
Okay, that's an in favor vote.
yes, it is. Sorry.
I'm sorry, I forgot to call out the choices. You may vote in favor, you may vote opposed, you may vote abstain, or you may vote not entitled. My apologies, I wasn't reading from the script. B. Disman votes in favor.
Favor.
Adam Hartke,
In favor.
thank you. Seema Shah,
In favor.
Thank you. Sandro Sherrod. Has he made it?
I don't see him.
Okay. Mara Wong.
In favor.
Thank you. Mark Thompson.
In favor.
Okay. With 5 of 5 committee members voting in favor, this is unanimous and moves on to the full board.
Okay, so we have, thank everyone for your hard work and going through it. It really shows a dedication to trying to develop process and to look at things. So let me talk about the timeline, because I think that's really important of how we will proceed. And Kyle and I have been talking about how we go ahead and present it. So committee today, which is February 1st, agreed on a draft, which we'll share with the full board, and we needed a vote, which we just took, and when it's unanimous, okay? On February 8th, which is next Wednesday, in my committee report, I will tell board members that they're going to be receiving a resolution and a copy of the bylaws that we determined and marked up in red with additions and crossed out, that they will have until February 27th to look at it and to make any edits. On February 9th, which is the day after the meeting, we will send the bylaws and the resolutions to board members. And again, remind them that all edits or suggestions have to be submitted by February 27th. At our March 1st meeting, we will discuss any proposed edits and vote on the final draft. And on March the 8th is when we will present the final draft, and no additional changes to the bylaws will be considered. It's an up-down vote on the document, having given people the opportunity to edit, to put some edits or to raise any questions, which we will discuss. So any comments? Mark, you went through this before. Any comments about something like this?
Of the
No?
process? Sorry,
Yeah.
with the process? Oh, sorry. No, I mean, this sounds good because it's like everyone gets a chance to look at it, review it, make comments, et cetera, and then you're done. And
yeah,
that's it.
Well, we wanted to do something that was transparent. Board members have had the opportunity to sit in at all of our meetings, have made suggestions, but it's also different when you look at something on the screen as opposed to getting something. So giving people over 2 weeks, to look at it and then send back anything. And it's the Monday before the meeting, so we'll have the opportunity before we meet. So we'll have the opportunity just to look at some of the comments that come in. So anyone have any other thoughts?
Mara Wong.
If
requests
Maura
the
has
floor.
I see your hand up.
Hi, yes, I just want to clarify that March 1st meeting is a meeting of this committee.
This
the
committee,
March
right,
8th meeting is the full
is the full board,
up
right.
or down vote. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, we do not vote on sections. That's why giving everyone the opportunity to look and, make some edits is really important. It's an up-down vote. And that's where I will go to Mark or any of us think of what's important to say orally, to the group of some of the things I think is very important for all of us. So any other comments about the schedule? Okay. So let me then turn to any old or new business.
Can I ask a question, a process question?
Yeah.
So at the February 8th full board meeting, let us remember that is Kyle's birthday. So he's told us he's not going to be there. So Mark will most likely be the chair that night.
Okay, I love Mark being the chair. He could protect me.
So, so just a reminder, unless Kyle's
I didn't know that was
changed.
his birthday. I guess I forgot it.
Yeah, I believe I don't remember whether he announced it at exec or at the last full board, but he did say that he had birthday plans, and so Mark was going to be chair.
He warned everyone.
Yes.
I must not have heard the warning, and he certainly didn't say this when he and I were coming up with a timeline. I think that's funny.
Well, maybe his
Forgot.
plans have changed and he'll
Yeah.
spend his birthday with CB6. But assuming they haven't, just to remind people that, a motion has to be made, even though a resolution will not be presented at the February 8th full board meeting, a motion has to be made. I guess that motion is made during the bylaws committee report.
I would assume it is, and then I would assume that since I will be giving the report, I have to have one of the committee members make the motion that at our March 8th meeting, the final bylaws will be presented, and then it has to be seconded. Is it something that we need a vote on, or is it just a motion?
I think it's just a motion, but I would want to look at I was able to find in our archives the minutes from 2014 of the bylaws committee. Rick, his minutes were great. My goodness, they were helpful. That's what minutes are supposed to be for, that you may not need them, but years down the line, you may need them, and they were helpful. But I will see if the full board minutes from the full board before they were amended are as precise, to see maybe when in that meeting it happened and whether a vote was actually taken. I don't think a vote.
I don't think a vote, I mean, it doesn't make sense to take a vote as to whether you should present it. I think it's more of a notification.
Right. So I will double check that. I looked at it, but I couldn't remember. So I'll double check that. But just to put it in everyone's head, so someone on this committee, not B, I guess, will make a motion.
If it's only a motion that doesn't have to be seconded, I could do it.
Okay.
But you need to find out exactly. Mark, do you remember? I mean, I was around in 14, but I have no recall at all.
All right, so I'm going to put here to research, when is the motion made during the course of February 8th's full board meeting? And
I think it was during the committee report.
is a vote necessary?
So, I mean, the reason I don't think a vote is necessary, is the board going to say they don't want to change the bylaws?
Yeah.
And that's what happens in the, well, sorry.
No, I think
mean-
you're right. I think you're right. But I'll look into that and I'll let either B or the whole committee know.
Why don't you let us all know so we kind of
will.
know what we're facing?
I will.
Okay,
All
all right.
Okay.
So any other new business or old business?
Another process question, I guess. I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead, do it
Okay.
now, because none of us have gone through this before.
Okay, so.
Well, I shouldn't say that. Mark did, I did, but no memory.
All right.
Yeah, I know memory.
What's that institutional memory I kept hearing about during the term limits debate?
It's called those notes.
I think we should pass out some ginkgo biloba to all the community boards to help that institutional memory. So the minutes. Okay, so the minutes from January were adopted today,
Right.
in February. The minutes from February, Mara will prepare, and I imagine they will be adopted at March.
March, right?
March will be a meeting, and most likely the last one, I guess, of this committee.
I would say it's the last one under this regime.
And then, so then the minutes from that meeting, that March meeting, will need to be drafted and then adopted at some meeting that will not happen in the future.
So
Unless,
can it be adopted by the executive committee?
I guess, yeah. I mean, if you guys are okay with it, I you know, unless you
No
guys come
problem.
back in April just to adopt something, and
No.
so, yeah, unless I'm not an expert enough in the process to say, no, exec can't do that. But if you're okay with exec adopting.
I'm okay with exec. If anyone else, just is the process question to have minutes on record. That's what it is.
Well, no, because state law requires us to have the minutes if this is going to be if this is a public meeting, which it is.
Yeah, no, but it's a process question. Who has the authority to approve the minutes if the committee is going out of functionality?
It seems like the only options are either you guys come back one more month just to approve minutes, or you let exec do it. I
So
don't
if
really.
you come back one more month to approve minutes, I'm going to run this chain, then you need minutes of your approving minutes. So it doesn't make sense to me.
Unless you
Can-
have, unless you have minutes that night already prepared saying, we came back, we went into session, we approved minutes, and then we adjourned, and that's it. And then you approve those right before you adjourn. So it's a loop.
I think we can actually just say that we as the committee cede our authority to the executive committee to approve minutes and be done.
If you guys are okay with that, I am okay with that.
I have no problem with that. Does anyone have a problem with that?
It doesn't seem inappropriate, so.
Yeah. Okay, any other
And-
process questions?
I think I'm good for right now.
Okay, so do I have a move to adjourn at 7:55?
7:33 for the record.
I'm seeing a 5:05. That shows you when I'm not wearing glasses, okay?
7:33.
7:33. And let me, in all seriousness, let me thank everyone. This is arduous, going through line by line, making sure we've taken into account everyone's comments and going and dealing with it, and dealing with a year-long process has been an amazing experience. And I thank you for going down the journey with me and all of us, and hopefully we get it adopted on March 8th. Say goodnight.
Thank you, Jesus, so much for doing this for us.
No,
Keeping us
no
all.
problem. Thank you all.
Yeah,
Thank you,
appreciate
Bea. Always a pleasure to work with. As treasurer or assistant treasurer or bylaws committee chair, I always have fun working with Bea. So.
Yeah,